All right, so this is Superman, directed by James Gunn. The DCEU is no more, finally. And we fully moved on from Snyder stuff and things like that. And we're starting over with the DCU, starting with Superman and also some other heroes. The DCEU should have been done, and they should have rebooted it years ago, probably after the mess that was Justice League. But they still kind of wanted to keep the Snyder stuff around, and then but also do some other stuff, and it's been an absolute mess. It was a failure really from the start. I rewatched Man of Steel recently, and I was like, yeah, this doesn't work, and you're building your foundation just doesn't work. So now you're doing a franchise, trying to do a universe when you've already kind of made a mediocre movie that just doesn't work as a foundation for that. So in this, we have Superman being played by David Cornsweet this time around. Uh, so they don't show the origin like with other superhero movies. Recently, like the Batman, they don't really show the origin when it's a character that everybody pretty much knows and knows the origin. So they're like, we'll just kind of not show it. But in this, they do have lines to explain it. Krypton exploded. He was sent down to Earth as a baby, and he grew up here in Smallville with his farmer parents, Pon Ken, things like that. It's pretty much the same from these lines at the beginning. But there's this conflict going on in this other country where it's being invaded by this other country. Very obvious, very obviously supposed to be like certain real world things that are happening. And Superman is catching controversy around it because he stepped in and stopped it because he felt like it was the right thing to do, and even threatened the leader that was, invading this other country. And even Lois Lane is giving him a tough interview about it. Lois Lane is played by Rachel Brosnan. So Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, he's kind of using this situation to go after Superman. He's trying to sow distrust amongst the people and the government for Superman, so he gets the justification to just fully go after him and even imprison him. This is so refreshing. This is so refreshing. After rewatching Man of Steel too, like the other day, this is so refreshing. I mean, David Cornsweet really feels like Superman. I think he gives a great performance, great casting. I think it's great casting just across the board and great performances across the board. But man, this guy feels like Superman, right? To the point where like they're kind of overcorrecting when it comes to certain things when it came to Snyder's Superman, when it came to Man of Steel and things like that. Where Man of Steel, like there's certain points where he saves people, but by the end, when it's like complete destruction for way too long, noise and destruction and everything. He's actively participating in putting people's lives in danger and killing people, and he doesn't seem to care at all, other than fighting Zod and doing other things. In this version, this Superman is going out of his way to make sure that people are not collateral damage in these fights. I mean, he's fighting this big monster, and and he goes out of his way to stop it from crashing into a building that people are in and asking if they're okay. He even goes as far as, it's kind of goofy, it's kind of ridiculous. He even goes as far as to save a squirrel during a fight. I mean, he goes out of his way to even not want to kill the big monster that's attacking. I mean, this dude is a Boy Scout. He's a likable, very human, very emotional. He gives a speech about him basically being human, even though he's an alien from Krypton. I mean, he has charm, he has charisma, he has the likability. He feels like Superman. I was nervous about certain things about this movie, like the CGI was kind of questionable. Turns out that CGI is great in this movie. I liked all the action. I think it's all great. It's all exciting, and there are certain shots where it's like, okay, that didn't work too much, but for the most part, it works. The flight, people were talking about the flight didn't look good and it was goofy, which it kind of was. But I was like, okay, I had a wait and see thing when it came to CGI. It's like, these are trailers. It's like, I'll see the movie, and all the CGI for the most part is really good. Like, I was really into the action and everything. The powers, Superman's powers are really cool. But there was a thing that was really getting me nervous, and that's the involvement of these other heroes. Right? You got Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. You got Hawk Girl. You got Mr. Terrific. You got so much going on, and it's like, okay, I don't know how you're gonna fit that. And this is the first movie out the gate. It's a Superman movie. Let's just focus on him, right? We got a not great Superman for so long. Let's just focus on him. But it worked. Like, it feels like a universe. Like he has really good interactions with these other superheroes. They don't feel like they're just cameos. They actually are involved in the plot, especially Mr. Terrific, and that's played by Edie Gathagi. I probably said his name wrong. He's fantastic, and he even gets a really good moment to shine, taking out a bunch of dudes and stuff like that with his T spheres. I don't know a lot about the character, but I'm kind of familiar. I've seen I watched videos about him and stuff like that. I think he's great in this. I think he's one of the standout characters, and the performance is good from the actor. It feels like one of the DC Comics like cartoon shows or something where you have these other characters involved. It's like the Justice League show I used to watch when I was a kid. It kind of felt like that, where it already feels like a universe and these characters interact with each other. They exist in the same world and have their own stories and things like that. Their interactions with each other, and it really works. I was like, man, I didn't think they would be able to juggle these characters and actually have this still be a Superman movie, but he still shines, and they do well with these characters too. His relationships with Pa and Ma Kent in this, I think that works really well. They have the people from the Daily Planet. Jimmy Olsen gets quite a bit to do in this, and I like Jimmy Olsen in this. You have Perry White and the other people in the Daily Planet. They don't get a lot to do, but what they do, I think it works. Probably the best part of this entire movie is Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult in this. Uh, he's cunning, he's evil. I mean, he will kill people in a second, and he is so obsessed with Superman. Even Superman calls it out after a while. It's like, God damn, this obsession is weird. He is obsessed. He hates Superman so much, and you get that in his performance. I mean, he's like filled with rage, just targeted at Superman, and his whole reason behind it is very Lex Luthor. And I mean, this feels like Lex Luthor. Like, of all the live action Lex Luthors, I think this one is the best. I think he he works so well, and he works as the brain versus brawn, the villain for such a powerful hero, and him studying him and being able to use that against him, and other certain things that he's been doing behind the scenes. I mean, it's just Lex Luthor is perfect in this. All right, so we're gonna go to negatives, and I'm actually gonna spoil some stuff a little bit. But before I start spoiling some stuff, I think a negative that this movie definitely has is the pacing. The pacing is too fast, right? They're really focused on keeping this movie around 2 hours when it really should have been 2.5. You have a lot of stuff going on in this. You got the other heroes and stuff going on with there. This conflict with with these other two countries that Superman's involved in, and the whole the relationship with Lois and Superman, and things being kind of complicated with them, and everything going on with the Daily Planet. Jimmy Olsen's doing stuff. It's a lot. Just like I thought from the trailer, it's a lot. I think they juggled it better than I thought they would, but the pacing is so fast that it gets to the point where things don't feel developed enough, and that's where we go to spoilers. So there are a lot of contrived and contrived and kind of like nonsense things in this movie. And if anybody's calling this movie mid or critiquing it really harshly, I mean, other than the people who were already talking shit about the movie before it even came out, they were already biased against the movie. When it comes to people in good faith being like, okay, this movie doesn't work or it's mid or whatever, I think it comes from the writing of certain things. So for one, when it comes to the Superman lore and things like that, what they did with Jor-El and and Superman's mom from Krypton, I did not like that at all. I could have liked that. It could have worked, but I don't think it gets enough development. It's really just there so we can have this conflict with people turning on Superman, Lex being able to turn people against Superman. And I mean, after Superman has been doing this, I believe for 3 years in this, and he is not Henry Cavill's Superman. This is a Superman that does care about people, does go out of his way to even save a squirrel, things like that. These people turned on him on a dime. I mean, I think it was the same scene they found out about what was going on. Jor-El and his mom, I forgot the mom's name, the Krypton mom's name. They have a message for him, and it's, I guess, in the Kryptonian language. So it's another language in this, and the beginning part of it is very hopeful, and he uses it to be the hero of people and things like that. But it's it's conveniently messed up the message, right? So there's a part of it that he never heard. So Lex Luthor is able to get into the Fortress of Solitude, which makes sense because he's able to use Ultraman, who's a clone of Superman. So he has Superman's DNA, and that's how you get into the Fortress of Solitude. So that made sense. But he's able to get in and he's able to interpret an alien language. Everybody goes along with the interpretation. Everybody, whenever somebody tries to question it, no, 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 this is real. We checked it. This is an alien language. What are you talking about? You checked it. But anyway, he's able to interpret it. And the other part of that message is that Superman should have a harem and that he should rule over the people of Earth because he's stronger than them and things like that. And it's like, okay, so you've made Jor-El a bad person, Superman's Krypton dad, something I've never seen before in any other version of Superman. And it's just to set this up. They don't fully go into it and really like, in other versions, even in Man of Steel, he could talk to Jor-El's consciousness, maybe do that and have more of a storyline with it where he really confronts his Kryptonian father. But they don't do that. It's just to have this conflict. And there's other things that don't really make sense and feel forced, like the whole thing where the girlfriend is an ex of Jimmy Olsen. She's able to send him things, and she's sending him pictures that she takes. She just happens to take pictures in front of incriminating things, and somehow Lex Luthor just, I guess, didn't know or didn't do anything about it. That's a stretch. Um, Superman is basically given over to Lex Luthor to be put in this pocket dimension jail, which it's like the government gave him permission to do that. And in this pocket dimension, he just has people just imprisoned, including one of his ex-girlfriends. So not even just criminals or anything like that. It's like, does the government know about this? Because in order to give Superman over to him to put him in there, they would have to know, right? And like, are these people? They would have to be missing. There's no investigation into it. This is his ex-girlfriend. Like, shouldn't he be on the list of suspects? Metamorpho. He's in that prison, that pocket dimension. And he needs Superman. He's being used to create kryptonite because they don't have kryptonite. He can create it because his body can turn into different elements and things. And so, he's able to turn his hand into kryptonite and use it to keep Superman in that cell in the pocket dimension. They have Metamorpho's son, and so he's going to help Superman, and Superman's going to save his son for him. And he can transform and everything like that. He can fly and things like that with his transformations, but he can't hold his son while he's transformed. So that's why Superman has to hold him for him, and everything happens when they escape. Why? They don't really go into why he can't hold his son while he's transformed. I don't see why he couldn't just keep his hands from being transformed and just transform the bottom half of his body and fly that way or move around that way, which we see him do. It is just, it's kind of goofy and weird. It's like you could have written that in a better way. But the big thing in this is this conflict going on with these two countries, one being invaded and things like that, but they're an ally to America and stuff like that. It is so very obviously and blatantly supposed to be Israel-Palestine. So obvious. And I think that's good. I like that that's in there. But if you're going to have something in there, especially something that's very real world, I feel like it needed to be more of the movie. It's an important part of the movie. A lot of the conflict of the movie, when it comes to Superman and everything, the controversy and things like that, comes from that situation. But it feels like it's on the side. It kind of feels like it's just kind of thrown in there still. Because this is a Superman movie. Superman's our main character, obviously. And there's a lot going on when it comes to Superman and that conflict. We don't ever actually see Superman there as an audience. The thing that happened that got him this controversy around it happened off screen before the movie, and we're just getting caught up to it, and people are talking about it. And when it gets paid off, when they're calling for Superman to come back and do it again and protect them, Superman has to go deal with Lex and the pocket dimension splitting the Earth. So he has to send Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Metamorpho over there to take on that military group that's invading that other country. So Superman, main character, we never see him actually there interacting with that place and doing what he did there and all that. That just feels wrong to me. I feel like you could have written it in a way, if this was a longer movie for one, you could have written it in a way where Superman still gets to go there. They're calling for Superman. Superman goes there, protects them, even though he shouldn't, even though it got him hell when he did it before, because it's the right thing to do. And then he goes and deals with the pocket dimension, which Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and them are already dealing with. But they need his help. He helps them, and then he defeats or confronts Lex Luthor. It's one of my favorite movies of this year, and I still really like it. And as far as like DC live action stuff, especially in modern times, it's easily one of the top movies of those. But with these problems, I can't fully just say, "Oh my God, this is perfect," and all this other stuff. because it has writing problems. It has problems that keeps it from fully being fully reaching its potential. But as is, we got a great Superman, great casting, great Superman world, great universe. We've started off pretty strong. If we can keep this going, man, the DCU, this is going to be something special, right? We're going to potentially have it in conversation with the MCU finally, where it can be like legit competition. That being said, that's Superman. I'm giving it awesome, my second to highest rating. And subscribe, and we're done.